to the main event. And I will credit AEW. I told you this when we were talking back and forth last night. They did a lot of living in these hour and 30 minutes to get all of this talent in before we even saw Eddie Kingston. That's the fucking man, right? Like, I love Hangman. It's a different kind of over, right?
Yeah.
Eddie's over, so is Hangman, but it's in different.
Well, it's like Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels, right? There's
right,
two
exactly.
Different,
two different types of guys, but you love them both.
These are two different aspects of my multiple personalities that I love, right? Like these
Definitely.
are the guys that you're right.
But what I was going to say, though, is credit to AEW for getting a lot of living in before we even got to the main
100%.
attraction, in my opinion.
This
Eddie
show,
Kingston.
very few missteps and just hitting, like it was Homer. Okay, Miss Homer. Like they did good this show. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the only criticisms that I have are nitpicky. It's just being like, but if I was in charge, it's a fucking awesome show.
Weird. Yeah.
But I think that you should have. Anyhow, we had a street fight for the AEW World Tag Team titles. The Young Bucks, the champions, taking on Eddie Kingston and Penta, who had a win over them the prior week. So this was a street fight, and boy, did we street fight. This was fun. I liked it.
I love when the Young Bucks are heels because this really lets you want to hate them, right? Like,
and I do.
Really
I fucking
like
do.
You really want to see them get punched around. You really want to see them get, you know what I mean? The Kansas City cunt punt.
And they play into it with those stupid jean shorts that they
Tennessee
had.
Testicle tickler, you know what I mean? Like all
yeah.
Twister. Sorry, it's not the tickler. Tickler's a different thing. It's
a Papa Shango move.
A little more pricey to get the tickler, but the twister, you know, man. Yeah. Ugh, rough.
So this street fight, though, it was knockdown, drag out war. I will say credit to them for still getting in their fun shit, right? We got a Canadian destroyer off the ring apron through a table with Penta and I think it was Matt Jackson. But the finish. So anyhow, before I get to the finish, though, real quick, we had Eddie Kingston get the rear naked choke on Matt Jackson. Nick, though, takes out the referee, which, okay, it's legal, right? Legal. But I still thought that was, again, but they're heels, so that is cheap, so fine.
Yeah. But they powerbomb Nakamura while he was still spraying the
Cutler.
thing. Yeah, Cutler, that's right. Yeah, it's not Nakamura. Right, yeah, it's Cutler. Right, yeah.
Well, Nakamura is WWE.
Right, yeah. Same role.
Nakazawa.
Right, right, yeah. Nakazawa. Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's it. Right, yeah.
Fact checking here. Josh
Cutler's got the things with was it a powerbomb or something, right? Like, and he was still spraying that shit. They still got in a bunch of the gimmicks, but it didn't feel like a lot of them were ill-timed or just taking too much time, if you will. I thought this was done really well.
And there was enough times to say, well, that's when Eddie Kingston and Penta should have been the tag champions, with not actually giving them the belts, right?
Right.
So the Good Brothers came out again. Here's the easiest thing, because I keep yelling about this. Why isn't there a tag team mad that Impact wrestlers are taking their TV time? Right? That should be enough. But now, why isn't the Dark Order coming out to fuck up the Good Brothers? They fucked you up earlier in the night.
True.
Why aren't you coming back out to beat their ass? There's an easier one. Now, who helped Eddie and Penta in this match, though, was the Elite Hunter, Frankie Kazarian, and I want to point out something here. It's a cool concept, right? You agree, right? Cool concept on paper.
Yes.
However, I don't know, Tim, if you've been keeping track. I have, just because I have a weird drunk baby brain. Every time Frankie Kazarian's helped, the fucking baby faces lose.
Yeah. It's weird. Like, it's a great concept if there's nobody else that can stop this super group. You know, the super elite, they've got all the power, and the elite hunter is what starts slowly picking them off. But that's not what's happening. He's coming into other people's shine and
not
wasting
helping
time. Yeah, not helping. Like, he may take one guy away, but it doesn't change the outcome.
Yeah, it's Cutler or, Don Callis or what, he runs off Don Callis.
Maybe Machine Gun. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and it's just like,
maybe the Buff Bagwell of the Bullet Club.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the Horace Hogan of the Bullet Club, Carl Anderson. Just, I just don't get it, where you got to have some wins. You got to have some traction to say you're the Elite Hunter, because right now you're not really doing shit and you're kind of not even helping. So go away. Maybe. I don't know. Just some food for thought.
Yeah, you're like the Elite
finish,
Weekend
though.
Hunter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he might as well just wear golf pants and fucking.
Ooh, Big Josh says maybe Kazarian is an elite spy.
I mean, possibly, but right now he just looks like an elite loser. You know,
that could help if they find a way. If they find a way to do the like swerve, Hangman loses because Kazarian gave him the undercut, and then Kenny Omega goes on and still accuses the champ, and now Hangman's coming after Kazarian, who's a heel. Like maybe,
possibly,
but, that's the only way I think that would work.
But let's talk about the finish. I thought the finish was really creative and a little dangerous. So you get the thumbtacks introduced by Eddie Kingston, right?
Right.
But the finish is
who just
Nick
carries
Jackson.
those around, by the way. I think he just has like a sack of tacks.
He seems like
in his pocket at all times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has a sack of thumbtacks and someone else's credit card just walking around the streets of New York.
Credit card and a sack of tacks, man.
Yeah.
Ready to go, baby.
That could be the show title.
What kind of shoes you wearing?
But I thought it was crazy because Nick Jackson throws thumbtacks in the face of Penta, which, fun fact, now we're back in front of fans. There's people behind him. You could be throwing thumbtacks at him.
Hey, man.
You chose this show to do the thumbtack spot?
You saw Eddie Kingston on the ticket. You fucking should have brought some goddamn protective eyewear. I'm telling you that much.
I know, but I just thought, like, of all the shows that didn't have fans, you could have done this thumbtack spot, and you chose
You could have
the
bazooka
first
gun
show.
blasted thumbtacks.
Yeah, but you chose the first show that has fans to say, you know what we're gonna do? Throw thumbtacks.
The fans are trying
at
to fight us. Goddamn it, we're gonna fucking take it to you too, man.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
This is for that MJF moment.
Your
You
fucking friend,
cocksuckers.
motherfucker.
But then you also had, I don't know if you caught this because, again, the camera work wasn't great, and it wasn't great all night. I'm going to be honest. That was a nitpicky thing of mine.
Still, whoever's
Still not great.
directing back there is...
Nah, you're getting better, but you're not great. They put thumbtacks in the mouth of Eddie Kingston and then hit him with the V-trigger. Kudos to the Young Bucks. And again, I hate them.
Yeah, they didn't hit that spot well enough from a cinematography perspective. I agree with you. But yeah, the idea of like, yeah. It's like as close to an actual curb stop as we can get in wrestling.
Yeah, so that was it. The Young Bucks then get the victory. They retain the AEW Tag Team Championships. Tim, that was AEW Dynamite Road Rager. What did you think of this special event?
I'm happy to see him back on the road. I'm happy to see the crowd just in it and loving it. And I'm happy for the fucking Hangman.
Oh, one thing I didn't mention, but it's not that big of a deal. Dan Lambert from American Top Team came out, cut a Jim Cornette. Okay. That was a Jim Cornette promo.
Big miss, man. Goddamn big miss. Yeah, Jim Cornette probably had Jim Cornette write that promo for him. But we were talking, and I was a little bit behind you, and you brought this up, but I started hitting on that, like, they never said who the fuck that is. And they briefly mentioned Jorge
Masvidal. Jorge Masvidal and Amanda Nunes.
And so, like, I know those names because of you, right? Because of my proximity to an MMA fan and the MMA world. I literally might not, maybe from catching commercials, have heard of those names ever. And they never really did a good job of that. And now just here's this guy who I'm like, is this guy an executive or something? Like, what the fuck's this guy? Like,
yeah,
able to just, like, he looks like he's about ready to announce a Senate run in a state Senate run in Georgia. And like, what the fuck is this guy doing here? So
yeah, so this was again, I forgot because I messed up the rundown here, so I apologize. But this is again, it was a good segment for the Miami crowd. This is where I would have had this kick off the show. You get the highlight of Murder Hawk, then comes out and takes out Dan Lambert. And then in the actual show, we get Ricky Starks to cut that promo. Taz comes out and Brian Cage runs him off. Like, that is a story that all AEW fans know. To your point, if you don't watch MMA, you don't know who the fuck Dan Lambert is. Now, if you're a really hardcore pro wrestling fan, you've seen him in Impact Wrestling, you've seen him in MLW. But again, if you're just an AEW fan, who the fuck is this guy?
I didn't know who the fuck he was.
Right. I will say, though, the promo was good. A little long-winded, but it was fun. I think it was a shot at, I think it was a shot at Jim Cornette. I think that was hey, fuck you, we're taking Jim Cornette out in this segment. But I agree with you. I would have switched this out, put this in before we went live, have Dan Lambert get the crowd all riled up because he's talking about Miami, he's talking about championship wrestling of Florida, all the stuff, running down AEW, and then Murder Hawk gives you the pop, and then you go into the show.
This guy probably invested some, and you know what I mean? Like, so they're like, yeah, sure, here you go. Or he paid for advertising or some bullshit.
Well, in Miami, American Top Team is a big deal. To like, for Kansas City listeners here, James Krause, right? Glory MMA
Yes,
is, and that's the equivalent in Miami is American Top Team is that there. So again, but that's a Miami pop, right?
Right.
That needs to be for the crowd. You need to have your real stories. And again, Brian Cage has a point here. He's not on the poster, and now he's not even getting real TV time. He's getting recapped, and we're putting that at the start. So that would be the only thing I would change up about this episode. But again, fantastic episode overall.
Yeah, I agree.